Hi everyone, welcome to Traveling Miss Knits. My name is Pia and I am so happy that you're joining me here in Texas today for a little chat about what's been going on my hooks and needles. I am, as I said, still in Texas, but it has finally cooled down enough for me to be able to wear my sweaters. And today I am wearing my finished Cat number 8. This is the sweater that I cast on during our 8th knit-a-thon. It took me quite a while to finish the thing. And then it took the weather quite a while to cool down enough for me to wear it. But now I can wear it. I am wearing it on repeat. I love this thing. I have talked so much about this pattern and about this particular version of the pattern in the past, I don't know how many podcasts. So I'm not going to say a lot today. I'm just going to show it to you, tell you that I love it. I love how it fits. I love that I picked a size that gives me quite a lot of positive ease on the body. But because the sleeves are fitted, I don't feel like I'm drowning in sweater when wearing it. The fitted sleeves also means that I'm able to wear it with a jacket, which is something that I really, really like. I love layering my knits. I love playing with texture and colors, and that can be tricky with a sweater with a larger sleeve. I do have one other Cat number 8 on my needles, and I don't even think I have shown this version before. I don't remember, honestly. This is the one, wow, I couldn't decide between dark blue and navy. The dark blue one. This is the original prototype for the sweater. It was made for a book I was making for a Danish hand dyer. The book never happened, but this sweater was actually pulled even before the book died. I created the pattern, I knit the body and one sleeve. The pattern was then graded, tag edited, and was sent into testing. And we decided to pull it in the test phase because the way that I had made the construction of the yoke, the neckline, it was just too complicated. There was too many problems with it. It was also kind of difficult to grade, and that had to do with how I had placed the pattern here. So those things, I mean, back then when we pulled it from the test, I just threw the thing in a basket that I have with failed designs that are too good to be frogged. And it's been marinating in that basket for some years. But then when I picked it back up, I made sure to correct the mistakes that had been. I moved the pattern placement around, and I simplified the way that you work the yoke. And honestly, you can't tell. You really can't tell by looking at it, but you can definitely tell when knitting it. So the Cat number 8 in this version is quite a simple knit. This one is knit in a yak silk blend, a DK weight, and I can see the same thing happening as happened with this one. I am using significantly less yarn than the pattern calls for. The new pattern that I wrote up was written for a very woolen, very rustic yarn, and it was eating up yarn like nobody's business. I then knit it up in this, and I don't know the fiber content of this yarn, but it's a smooth, kind of sleek yarn, and I used less than 500 grams. I have weighed this one, and once I finish the second sleeve, it is definitely going to be well below 500 grams. So I do think I'm going to go ahead and put a note in the pattern that if you're not using a toothy, woolly yarn, you may need significantly less yardage than what is in the pattern. But yeah, I really wish I could just finish the sleeve already. I just don't wanna. I don't know. It's like I don't have another sweater in me right now. I have been on this journey toward slower knitting. I feel like I need to slow my pace, not only in the amount of sweaters that I am spitting out, but also my knitting speed. I want more time to appreciate the forming of each stitch. I felt myself tensing up a little bit as I was knitting, going really, really, really fast, racing through like everything. Everything was a mad dash to a fictional finish line, which it doesn't make sense. It didn't bring me any joy. It actually, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but it actually felt like I was producing more than I was creating. It felt like my creativity was being pressured by the speed that I was producing at. So I have been spending now 3 weeks consciously trying to slow myself down. And old habits are really hard to break. I have probably been a fast knitter for more than 40 years, and I have, at times, I have to admit, I have taken some pride in this, that I was a fast knitter. And it is super practical. Again, if you're gift knitting on December 22, it's a good thing to be a fast knitter. But I don't want my knitting to feel like I'm sitting at an assembly line and I just have to work to get the things done. That's not why I knit. I don't knit to produce clothing for myself. I don't knit to keep myself warm. For sure, I have enough sweaters for a lifetime and then some. So yeah, I have, as I said, deliberately been slowing my pace, and I am really enjoying it. I find myself relaxing into my knitting. I find my creativity blossoming, blooming with this slower pace, with this new appreciation of the process of the forming of each stitch. So it's something that I really, truly enjoy. For some reason, it has also meant that I don't grab for a sweater project. I have them. I packed sweater projects. I even have one that's almost done, which I could, at my old pace, finish in a day probably. But I don't want to. All I want to knit or work on these days seems to be pillows and blankets. And I am having a lot of fun with one particular blanket. I'm just going to show it to you. A couple of years ago, I decided to make blankets for all of my grandchildren. I first made a blanket for my oldest granddaughter. She asked for a white blanket with some colored triangles, and we were going to use, we had already decided this, we wanted to use a Harry Potter advent that I had bought because she was a huge Harry Potter fan. So I went ahead and used my Mimi Max pattern, which is a pattern of just triangles put together in long panels and then crocheted together at the end. I modified it a little bit so that it was mainly white and then just with some colored triangles. And it was beautiful, and I enjoyed making it, and I was really happy to give it to her. Next in line was little John John over here in Texas, and I hadn't really come up with a plan for a blanket for him. What I wanted to do was a blanket for myself, for this room that I stay in when I'm over here. So you know what, I'm gonna take the camera here. I took inspiration from Michaela. I'm gonna link her YouTube channel because she does beautiful stuff. But I was watching an episode where she had made a crochet blanket for her grandma. And that was a blanket that was a combination of granny squares and granny stripes and a beautiful border of tiny granny squares. And I was just, this is so pretty. I want to make this. So I started making one for myself. And when John John saw it, he was like, oh, pretty grandma, is this for me? I mean, can there be more than one answer to that question? I don't think so. So it became his blanket. And we decided that it would be a growing blanket, that it would grow with him. It was only, I think it was only the center squares that were ready when he claimed the blanket. We then added the granny stripes. I decided to add this section down here to make it truly his, with the Texas Lone Star and with the little phrase that we say to each other, to the moon and morning. Because I would always say to him when he was small, I love you to the moon and back. And he'd look at me and say, no, Grandma, no, you love me to the moon and morning because you also love me when it's the morning, which is, of course, true. So to the moon and morning, I added to the blanket. Then I added some more granny stripes and then the beautiful little border of the small granny squares around here. And after those, again, some more granny stripes. And you can see there are more granny stripes on the shorter sides than on the longer sides because we wanted the blanket to fit his bed like this. I don't know that it's going to grow a whole lot more. I think it has a good size now. He's very happy with it. Next in line is going to be little Victor in Denmark. And he told me that he wanted a unicorn-colored blanket. Don't you think this would pass for unicorn colors? I think so. I think he's going to be so happy with this blanket. While John's blanket don't really have a pattern, this is a pattern. There's plenty of variations of these star-shaped blankets. I love this pattern. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I am going to link it in the description box below. I am pretty sure it's called the Rainbow Ripple Blanket. It's so much fun to work up. It just flies off the hook, to be honest. I am doing 2 stripes of a self-striping yarn and then 1 stripe of the baby blue, which is actually, it looks nice, I think. Well, unicorn nice, but it also helps me with the pattern because you're doing something slightly different on every 3rd row. So that's easy that it's on all of the blue rows that I'm doing something slightly different. Actually, when John's mom saw this pattern, she was like, oh, what if we, for Lucas, for John's younger brother, made this pattern, but in these colors, so the 2 boys' blankets would match. And, you know, I'm all for it. I love this pattern. I find it so much fun to work. Every kind of stripy pattern, I guess, is just going to be fun because the brain gets to see something new. And here you have all of the fun because you have a self-striping yarn and you're striping that. So really, really enjoying my blanket making. That was my blanket fun. I'm also making pillows. And actually, these started as an assignment that I set up for myself. I wanted to use up whatever leftovers I had laying around over here, because when I'm in Texas, I do live in my my oldest son's apartment. He lives here with his family, and they are graciously letting me and my husband Peter use one of their rooms. I don't want to be leaving behind big baskets of scrap yarn and leftover yarn. So I have decided to work through some of that. A lot of it was leftovers from John's growing blanket, and it's the Red Heart Super Saver. It's not a yarn that I would want to knit any garments or anything like that out of. It's perfect for a kid's blanket, but not for much more. But I decided to go ahead and make a pillow because I had a lot of white. For some reason, I had originally, when I shopped for this blanket, I had bought a lot of white yarn and actually not used a lot of white in the blanket. So there was leftovers. A while back, a Danish podcaster, Tina, she offered this pattern for a pillow. She offers it for free. It's not a pattern per se, more of a recipe. She offers it for free, unfortunately only in Danish. But if you feel confident just having Google Translate help you, you can reach out to her on Instagram. I will include her Instagram handle in the description box below, along with any patterns that I talk about on this episode. She will then send you the pattern, and it's beautiful. But on the other hand, I was wanting to use up my white. So what I decided to do, and now I hope I can explain this in a way that makes sense. I have decided to make it in all white and just do the outlines of the star. Can you see this is the upper half of the star? Just see the outline. Please tell me you see it. Please tell me that this is actually making sense. To me, it makes totally sense. I can totally see the upper half of a star. What I have done is I have made these little squares, the ones that go in the corner. They're just garter squares knit diagonally. So I cast on 3 stitches and I increased 1 stitch on each row until I reached 28 stitches, and then I had 1 row just to make a corner, and then I decrease. But then the ones that in Tina's pillow are made using 2 colors, and in mine are made with these lines. The middle row I purl so that I get this little stockinette fabric in the middle. And in that stockinette fabric, I am then slip stitching on the collar. And I am also slip stitching the squares together. Actually, I did make a mistake the first time around. I had slip stitched all of this with the gray. I had to rip back the gray down here and make it white because, again, I wanted to be the outline of the star. I do have all of the squares ready. I just need to slip stitch the lines on them, and I need to put it all together. And then I have started working on the back side of the pillow, and that's just going to be a big square, just garter stitch, yeah, no fuss thing. It's going to be a rather big pillow. I want it for my summer house. I need more pillows down there. But as I said, it's quite big. So I decided to also go ahead and make a smaller pillow. Also, I still have had more of this yarn. It seems to just go on forever and ever, and I really want to use it up. So I started another pillow project. This time around, I'm going to show you a blocked one. I'm making these little squares, and then I have to decide if I want to crochet them together into a large square that I then fold in on itself, like the sunburst pillow that I just made, or if I just want to make a smaller square and a simple backside. I'll figure that out as I go. But yeah, they're so fun to work, these little ones. They look a little wonky, unblocked. But back in Denmark, I do have a granny square blocking board where I can block all of them to the exact same size. So I just wanted to block one over here to be able to show it to you. You need to stay there. It's not a pattern. I thought I was gonna make coasters, so I had just made the circle here. I had done a magic circle, then 12 double crochets, treble if you're in the UK, 24 double crochets, and then 24 puff stitches. And that was a beautiful coaster. It was wide enough that most cups and glasses would just fill in the center, and the puff stitches would be popping up around the glass or the cup. But one night I was sitting there looking at the coaster going, I can make something with this. So I just worked one round to square it off. Really simple. With the puff stitches, and I do a puff stitch and then one, why don't I remember, one stitch between them. So there's 48 stitches to the round. I divided that into 4 to see how to create a corner. So there's 12 stitches to each corner piece of this. What I do for each corner is 2 single crochet, 2 half double. Then I do 1 double crochet. In the next stitch, I do a double and a treble crochet and 2 singles. Of course, 2 single crochets. In the next stitch, I do a treble and a double. Then I do 1 double, 2 half double, and 2 singles. No, so these are not singles. Slip stitches? I think so. I hope I'm making sense. It is very simple. What you want to do when you're squaring off a circle is, of course, you want really low, not tall stitches on the sides, and then taller and taller stitches as you're working towards the corner. And that's what I achieved in this way, with the singles, the half double, the double, and then the treble, and a few stitches to turn the corner. Super, super simple. They work up so fast. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the future brings. If I'm gonna make a huge square with them and fold the square in on itself, or again, if I'm going to make a smaller square and a more simple back. We shall see. I am having a lot of fun with this. I have one more project on my needles, a simple sock, and I finished sock number 1. Sock number 2 is on its way. It lives in my purse so that I know I'll always have some on the go knitting when we're out and about. It is just vanilla socks. I am using 9-inch circulars. There are periods where I can't use these. They cramp my hands, but right now it's really easy for me to use them, and they are really good for being around people. I am around my two wonderful little grandkids. And in this house, we have a very strict no phones for grown-ups when the kids are around. We don't want the kids to have to fight a phone for our attention. I have taken this into my making also. I don't want to be crocheting when they're around because I have to look when I crochet. I don't want to be knitting on something complicated, which could be an excuse for not finishing the sleeve. But a sock is really easy, especially when you're on 9-inch circulars, because you don't have this, oh, I need to finish, if you're working DPNs, I need to finish this needle, or if you're working magic loop, you also typically wanna finish what you started before putting it down. This one you can just put down whenever, wherever, and pick it right back up again. So yeah, I did finish sock number 1. I had originally planned to just do a short row heel, but then we were out and I could see, I didn't bring a tape measure, but I could see that I'm about ready to put in the heel, and I didn't bring a longer circular needle, so I wasn't able to, which meant that I had to choose. Either I could stop knitting altogether, which would be horrible, or I could continue knitting and then adding an afterthought heel. So afterthought heel it is. I then chose to go with another yarn just because I could. And yeah, sock number 2 on the way. I have no idea what this yarn is. It definitely feels like it has nylon content. It also feels like it might have some silk content. The sheen of it, but also the touch. It may or may not have silk content. It's not the elasticity to even say that. It's not a yarn that easily bounces back. So maybe at some point I'm gonna have to add a thin elastic thread, just add it up here in the cuffs. We'll see. I don't know that it's gonna be necessary, but I'm prepared to do it if need be. I love this color. I love it. I'm gonna wear these with my burgundy loafers. It's gonna look absolutely gorgeous. So I am plucking away at these and yeah, feeling very confident that these are gonna be good socks. Even though I don't know that this is a sock yarn. It probably is, because it was in my yarn basket over here, and I don't see why. I think I picked it up at the old yarn store that used to be in Plano. It has since closed. I think I picked it up there. It was in a big sales bin. So I picked up this color and a navy blue and then a camel color, something like that. Well, that fun little project, making sure that my hands are kept busy so that my mind can relax. During the knit-a-thon, I was talking about how I would love to have an American or Canadian bag maker and yarn dyer to sponsor the knit-a-thon. Like we have the Danish hand dyer, Knitter's World, we have the bag maker, Knitwear by Maki, but it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult to send things across the world, and you have tariffs and you have postage and whatnot. So I was asking if someone knew a bag maker or a yarn dyer who would want to sponsor the knit-a-thon. And a viewer reached out to me and was like, hey, I make bags. Maybe we could work something out. Her Etsy shop is the Cotton Stash. I'm gonna link it in the description box below. She sent me 2 project bags, and oh my God, I am so proud. I am so proud to be working with her for the next knit-a-thon. So the first one is this. Isn't it beautiful? Pia colors with a little pop. And then she sent me this one. And I'm gonna show you something really funny. The same day that these bags arrived in the mail, so did some yarn that I had ordered online. I'm just gonna show you the colors of that yarn held up against the project bag. So this is definitely a match made in heaven. All of the colors of my yarn is in the project bag, and it just looks awesome. These are really well-made bags. They're quilted, so they have some stability to them. They have boxed bottoms, and you can easily, when you're working from them, just fold down the top a little and have a bucket that will stand either on the floor next to you, on the couch next to you. They have, as you can see, a generous size. You can fit a sweater project in here, even a multicolor sweater project. On the inside, you have little pockets for all of your things. Here you have her label. And yeah, I'm in love. I'm in love with these bags, and I am just so happy to be working with the Cotton Stash for the next knit-a-thon. She also sent me something else that she also has available on Etsy. And this is probably one of the prettiest things that I have ever owned, a junk journal. Just look at this. It has pages. Oh, let me just show you the right way. It has pages for you to write on, but it also has little pockets that you can put stuff into, little cards. It is envelopes, and it is just so pretty. I have decided that I'm going to use this journal to journal my Christmas. Christmas has been a little bit difficult since my mom passed away. Last year was the first Christmas without her, and it just seemed like she was very much not there for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to having something beautiful that Mom would have loved. She would have screamed with joy had she seen this one. I'm looking forward to having this thing sitting down and just chronicling our things we do for Christmas. So yeah, huge shout out the Cotton Stash on Etsy, and I am so happy. And of course, the yarn here, I have a project in mind. I do. And it's not a sweater. More sweaters. I want to make a Doctor Who inspired scarf, like a huge long scarf with random stripes and fun colors. These are nowhere near Doctor Who colors, but I love these colors. It's very much the colors that I'm going for right now. I do think, because I want it to be a garter scarf. I want something simple to just be able to pick up and work on whenever and wherever. I do think that I would want it to be framed by an I-cord all the way around, not just I-cords at the sides, but also an I-cord at the beginning and the end. Also, I am contemplating knitting an old pattern of mine, which is the Snowflower Wrap. I'm actually not even sure about the name of this pattern, but it is a scarf, and it is shaped with increasing and decreasing, so that it's just it has a little bit of a pointy end. I'm actually not sure. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, no, I just want a simple scarf. Well, probably by next week I will have cast this on and thus have been forced to make a decision. For sure it's going to be beautiful. These are absolutely lovely colors, and they go so well with everything that's in my wardrobe. So really looking forward to a simple, easy project where I don't have to worry about fit or pattern or measurements, but I can just knit. That was it for the creative content this time. For life in general, I'm sure you can imagine, with me being in Texas in a family with 2 children, there's a lot of Halloween going on, and I am loving it. Who would have known? If you had asked me 3-4 years ago, I would have been like, oh, Halloween, I didn't care for it. Now, I am taking it all in. I am having a blast. So we've had a couple of Halloween events already. We're going to one again tonight. And then, of course, on Friday, we are going to go trick-or-treating. And I am going to enjoy every little bit of it. I am going as something that scares the living daylights out of me. But probably not scares a lot of other people. I am going as a butterfly. Butterflies really scare me. They're scary. They have wings. Anyway, I am really looking forward to loads of Halloweeny fun. I do hope that you are having fun, that you are enjoying yourself wherever you are in the world. I hope that you are knitting or crocheting, embroidering, whatever your crafted is. I hope you are enjoying that too. I also hope to see you again next week for another episode. Until then, stay happy, stay safe, and keep knitting.